Hey folks, welcome to the Do It Yourself Dad channel. Sprinkler valves are kind of like people. When we get older, we start to leak a little bit. Today I'm going to show you how to fix a sprinkler valve that won't turn off. Let's get started. So these are the valves that I'm having problems with, and most valves basically function the same, so this should apply to any valve. Now this is the valve that is stuck in the open position, and if it's stuck in the open position, it generally is not a problem with the timer, it's going to be a problem with the valve itself. Now, if you're having trouble identifying which valve is running, if you put your hand on them, oftentimes you can sense a slight vibration in the valve, and that'll let you know which one's running. Now, the first thing to try to get it to stop is coming up here. This is the solenoid. That's the electronic part that is actually opening and closing the valve itself. So the first thing you want to do is take this thing and give it a little twist to the left, and then give it a little twist to the right. Now in my case that did not work, so the next thing we're going to do is come up here to the air bleed screw. And on the top of these generally you're going to have a large screw and a small screw. You're not going to be dealing with a large screw, you're going to be coming down here to the small screw. And with the small screw here you can generally loosen this thing up with your fingers like so. And you should get a little bit of water coming out of it. This will bleed any air out of the system as well, and sometimes debris, and that could be what's causing the problem. After you've bled that for a little bit, you want to close it right back up. Now if that didn't do the trick, it's time to do a full rebuild, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Now before you rebuild your sprinklers, you want to figure out where the water is coming from. Now in that case of my house, I have a quarter turn right here that turns off all of my water, and then I have a second one down here that I can turn off the water directly to my sprinklers. So first thing I'm going to do is turn that one off. That way I don't have any water running to the valve. And now with the water turned off, we can rebuild this thing. Now we're going to start by picking up a rebuild kit. This comes with a new diaphragm, springs, and screws, so we can replace the guts of the valve itself. With the water turned off, we can take off these screws and expose the diaphragm. Now you can pick up rebuild kits at your local hardware store, but I also have them linked down in the description below if you want to check them out online. So now with all the screws removed, we can remove the top. Now you do want to make sure when you take this off that you're careful with where you put it, because you don't want to get dirt inside here. You want to make sure you keep this area nice and clean. Next, we're going to remove the old diaphragm. And I can already see some splitting in this thing, which is probably where our problem is coming from. You can see here also the rubber has been breaking down. Now is also a good time to just come in here and make sure that there's no dirt or debris inside there, and make sure your little hole right here, that's where the solenoid goes into, make sure that is nice and clean as well. Now that we've gone in there and inspected and make sure we don't have any dirt or debris in there, we're going to replace our new diaphragm right on top. Now you do want to make sure that this thing seats. There's a nice track that goes around. You want to make sure it seats properly in all the channels. Place the spring on top. And then we're going to take our lid and put it right back on top of the whole setup. You want to make sure that that spring seats nice and right up the middle. Most of these kits come with new screws, so you can use the new screws. And when you're securing it and you're putting the screws in, you want to screw them in one side and then the opposite, one side and the opposite, to make sure you get everything evenly tightened down. So now with all the screws tightened back down, you want to make sure that your bleed screw is tightened down, and then also make sure that if you loosened up your solenoid here, that that's tightened down as well. But none of this stuff has to be cranked super tight, you just want it snug. Now we're going to go recharge the lines of the house, test out our valve. Now with the water back on, visually inspect this for leaks, and then you can fire up the system and test to make sure it turns on and off. Now don't mind my dirty hands. If the system turns on and off, success, job well done. Now if you are in a situation where you have to replace the entire valve, I do have a video showing how to replace the valves completely, linked down below if you want to check that out. Now if this video did help you out, please give it a great big thumbs up. Go down below, hit that subscribe button, and if it helped you out, support the channel, buy our merch. We've got these cool Built, Break, Repair, Repeat shirts down below as well. And of course, thanks for watching.